Good morning, everyone. It's Dustin with East Tennessee Mentorship Association. So much to be thankful for this week. As many of you have seen, we added a new mentor. Her name's Alexis. She has a bachelor's degree in art and in psychology. She's been an addiction counselor. She's currently working as a teacher of autistic children for the Learning and Behavior Center, and she's a grad student. And she's also doing the associated internship for her master's in mental health counseling. So very, very qualified mentor. We're charging $70 a session for her. I bumped it up just a little bit to help her get through grad school. She has that, that level of expertise, and she deserves the help. So I'm very excited to have her on the team. Don't forget, we have yoga this Friday. We're going on a hike this Saturday. I haven't finalized the location yet, but regardless, we're going to meet here at 9 a.m. We'll be back around 2. I'm thinking either Piney Falls or maybe Burgess again. Trying to keep them pretty short, but also I really like being by the running water, and I know a lot of other people do, so do as well. So try to make the yoga or the hiking event, but the primary purpose of this video is to send out the mental health tip of the week. And this week, it's specifically for couples. This has been a theme in my sessions. It's Tuesday, and already probably 5 or 6 times I've been presented with these situations where both members of the couple are in these high stress situations with a lot of pressure on their plate, and they both acknowledge that, each other have that much pressure. How do you deal with that? How do you manage your energy as a couple in a healthy way when you're both in a period of challenge and growth? And I realized that, I'm in actually the same position. My wife's an ER nurse. She's been on night shift and day shift and swing shift and who knows what, it's whatever's needed whenever, and extra shifts and mandatory shifts and everything else. At the same time that I'm growing a business, I have 5 college courses looming. We both have family illnesses and ailments and losses and everything else. And so basically we both have a lot going on in our head. And what I realize is that, we're pretty good at regulating that. I'm very blessed in that way that my wife is very much a rationalist. I'm more of a emotional, feeler, intuitive, empathetic type. She's very rational. I might, I've gotten pretty good at self-regulation. So it used to maybe be like this, and now it's, and then her line is just the center line all the time. So it's really cool that, I have that anchor, I have that foundation, and that she could be so steadfast. But what about for people who haven't really developed those skills? How can you teach that? And so the first thing is just self-regulation and owning your part of it. I wear this shirt all the time that says, "She is not your rehab." And someone called me out one time. They said, "Well, neither is he." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I get it." I thought it was a cool shirt. I didn't make the shirt. Maybe if I made the shirt, it would say, "They are not your rehab." But either way, if you are a couple, you can't depend on someone else for your happiness. Your happiness, your mental health is your responsibility, and you can't project or expect someone else to fix that for you. Next is acknowledgement and reciprocation of effort. It's not enough to just say, "Hey, I appreciate you doing the laundry," or "Hey, I appreciate you making dinner." Like when someone is all the way tapped out, and we all have this finite amount of mental energy each day, when they still make an effort to show you that they love you and care about you, then it becomes your moral duty and obligation to not only acknowledge and appreciate that effort and live with an attitude of gratitude rather than negativity, stay optimistic, but it's also your duty to reciprocate that effort in their love language. Like the other day, sometimes you just fail. It is what it is. And I'm not really considering this too much of a failure, but I'm primarily the person who cooks in my house. So I was here from maybe 10 to 7 in session, train jujitsu real quick, get some steam off, and then Amanda's working night shift. So I want to have dinner for her when she gets home, but I'm exhausted. I got nothing left. Those sessions can be intense. Then I train, I'm ready to just veg out. So I swing by the store, I grab this big old foot-long sub, and I'm like, hey, it's dinner, So I cut it in half. I leave her half in the fridge for when she gets home. And I acknowledge that, okay, this isn't my best game. Well, as I'm going to get the sub, I happen to walk by a little party section at Walmart and see these Baby Yoda plates and napkins in a little tin. They're like $2 or $3, So and my wife likes Star Wars. So, well, it might be just a pre-made sub sandwich tonight, but guess what? It's going to be on a Baby Yoda plate because that's her love language. It's me acknowledging that I pay attention to her. I know what she cares about. I know what she thinks is cute. And so not only acknowledgement, but reciprocation of effort. I also wrote down, and this is going to be a little bit longer, but I think it's worth it because evidently this is like going on in the world quite a bit right now. No safety nets. Safety nets are bad. I use this for people who have like rejection sensitivity or have attachment issues. Like, it's okay for you to provide the opportunity. Say Amanda has 4 shifts straight, 4 12-hour shifts at the ER. And I'm still doing my job. I'm still exhausted. I still want to lean on my human. I still want to have time together, and so does she. But she goes to the ER for 12 hours. You add turnover and getting there early, so she's there 13 hours. She comes home and rests until the next shift. It is what it is. So in my mind, as a human, and we're like innately needy people. I'm thinking, well, she works 4 days, so that 5th day we're probably going to have a date. We're probably going to have some time together. Well, that's a good thing to think about, It's good to think, hey, my spouse has been working really hard. How can I help them relax on their off day? But it's not good to think like that I need that I am depending on that. Because of my 4 days, I need her on the 5th day. I need her to show up and go spend time. She's exhausted. She just worked 4 days straight, Don't do that to your spouse. Don't make it a safety net to where you're not going to be okay if you don't get the time. That's not healthy. Another thing I wrote is clear communication of expectations in advance. Like I said, we all have this finite amount of energy. So if I, as a basically high performer, like if you're the sort of person that keeps a lot of irons in the fire, school, fatherhood, being a spouse, work, and for me, developing a business or whatever, you plan out your energy to the last drop. By the end of my day, I plan to be exhausted. I plan to say, I earned my sanctuary today. So then I get home and I'm ready to veg out. And I put all I had into the universe, all the positivity I had. And I'm just sitting in my recliner. A breath. Hey, did you feed the chickens today? Hey, can you let the dogs out? Hey, would you mind switching the laundry over? Hey, can you empty the dishwasher? Ugh. And it just makes you want to melt, right? So the thing is, when it comes to, it's not about the task. I want to do the task. I want to help just like any other good spouse does. The thing is the communication of the expectation. In the military, we call this the plan of the day. If you're on deployment, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. At the beginning of the day, it's like, hey, we got this, we got this, we got this. And so I would say, first of all, to keep in touch about what you have going on. Honey, don't forget we have that dinner Tuesday night, like tonight. We're meeting a friend. We're choosing to take some rest and meet a friend at a restaurant, and we both know that's happening, so I'm prepared for that. If I get home from work and I didn't know that, she's like, hey, do you want to go to dinner? Well, I was really kind of planning on vegging out, And so the plan of the day, but also, and this is something I've used with people on the spectrum recently, or neurodivergence, and it was a piece of advice that was given to me, and I think it's genius, not only for them, but for everyone. Like if I get home at the end of the day and I'm ready to prop my feet up and veg out, instead of saying, hey, can you go feed the chickens, a much better way to do that would be like, hey, I know you're relaxing. I just want to let you know, maybe sometime tonight, can you feed the chickens? Or maybe, hey, how about tomorrow, or something like that. It's about not interrupting the moment of rest, like acknowledging like, that person looks like they put it all out there today. So that's kind of my take. Don't seek escape from the pressure. Seek the underlying truth of the pressure. So if you're going straight home and pouring a drink, or if you're going straight home and just vegging out on Netflix, like you have to take time to process what's happening when you have that much on your plate. And sometimes it's not always appropriate to process it through your spouse. If Amanda's at the ER and someone swallowed a needle and someone else cut their leg with a chainsaw, and I'm dealing here, hearing about things I didn't want to talk about, I don't want to mention on this forum. That's some pretty heavy stuff too. Like we both have heavy stuff, so sometimes you can just tell on your spouse's face or your partner's face, they're just checked out. They're just overwhelmed. And so it's not really productive at that point to be like, well, guess what happened to me today, you know? And so it is your duty to process that emotional data on your own, and then you can communicate healthily with your spouse. And then when you're both in a good place, then you talk about the stuff you need to drudge out. So don't seek escape from the pressure. So I did my homework for this video. I know that I can learn from anyone, and in particular my spouse. I married a very smart woman. So I said, hey, I've noticed this theme in sessions this week where couples both have a lot going on and they have trouble supporting each other through that. I said, I know that we're really good at that. I'm trying to analyze why that is, what makes us good at that. And I'll close with this piece of advice. Her advice was, because we're awesome. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess that kind of sums it up. So I hope that either her advice or my advice was useful. Don't forget Yoga Friday, Hiking Saturday, and thank y'all so much for the support and helping me grow this company. I love y'all. Thanks.